So school supplier McCullagh and Bothwell is finalising agreements with the Competition Commission on ending the exclusive supply agreements. Schools can no longer force parents to buy their children's uniforms at specific suppliers. Now this comes after a consent agreement between the Competition Tribunal and the uniform supplier McCullagh and Bothwell. This ends the exclusivity supply agreement and it aims to increase competition and ensure cheaper prices. The decision comes years after investigations into complaints made by parents who said they were forced to buy school uniforms from named suppliers. McCullagh and Bothwell, which has been in business for 125 years, supply school uniforms to the likes of Crawford School Group, Parktown Girls and Dainfern College, amongst others. David Walker, who's the McCullagh and Bothwell Director, joins me now to talk more about this. David, thank you so much for your time this evening. Let's speak about the technicalities of this particular agreement. Is the termination of the supply agreement immediate, or does it take some time before these things are finalized?
Good evening. Good evening to you. I'm not sure that this line is a good one. Good evening to you and to your viewers. No, the agreement, we need to sign new agreements by the end of May, so they will run until then at least.
Right, and then when you do sign those new agreements in May next year, what is the time span that these agreements are set to last for at the maximum?
The maximum term of a new agreement will be 5 years in terms of the consent agreement.
And David, what does this mean for the business? Surely it's not all good news, only because there's a lot more competition that's going to be playing in this space. Your view on what it means for McCullagh and Bothwell?
I don't think it means an awful lot. You know, we've never been afraid of competition at all. It's I've always said to our schools, if we're not up to it, you find a new stockist and we'll walk away. It's not a problem. And I feel strongly about that. I feel strongly about our business ethics and the way we've run our business for, as you correctly put it, for over 125 years. And my children tell me I've been there from the beginning, which is not true.
Yes, that might not be true indeed, David. But you can appreciate the objections that have been made by the parents in the past about expensive school uniforms.
Yeah, you know, uniforms are a little bit like taxes. They come at a bad time and we don't look forward to it. But quite frankly, I'm not terribly certain that they're expensive. I'm not sure they can be an awful lot cheaper, but we do our best to keep prices as low as possible. And you know, you make the point about parents needing, I think they do need options. I think it is right that they don't feel they're absolutely obliged to buy uniforms from one single supplier because they may feel that they're being badly done by.
David, I just want to speak about the expense, because you wouldn't be the only one that sells uniforms at certain prices. Is it an issue that they're not locally manufactured, or the supply chains are just costly, apart from the fact that you have to buy school uniforms in January, the toughest month of the year? Are there other supply chain issues that would extend those costs onto parents?
There are always supply chain issues, and there have been particularly so in the recent months. What was I going to say to you? So just ask the question again.
Supply chain issues having an impact on the fact that school uniforms can be particularly expensive.
And you were asking whether they're made from imported and so on.
Yeah, if it's locally manufactured.
I would think 99% of what we sell in terms of school uniform is made locally, and most of it is made from local fabric, but not all of it. Some of the fabric is imported, and there are issues there, supply issues there. Yeah.
Right, and just a final thought from you, David. You've currently got agreements with some of the schools that I mentioned in my intro. Are those going to remain the same, or are these going to change? Or are there going to be different schools that will now be involved in agreements with you going forward?
We are going to revise all the schools with whom we've got agreements currently. We have approached them already, and we will be renegotiating those agreements before the end of May.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, David Walker, McCullagh and Bothwell Director, joining us to break down how they will be taking those decisions that were made by the Competition Tribunal around the exclusivity of uniform supplies in school. With that,